Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to do our Game 17 review, probably also our Game 18 preview, just that, we are getting into the holidays and about to head off to the sunny coast for a week, so it should be very nice, but not planning on taking the computer or any of the gear. I want to spend time with the family up there, so I'll probably maybe do a bit of a quick one on the phone, I think is the plan. Um, but enough about the future plans. We'll talk about the present. In Game Week 17, as you can see, a good week again for us with 69 points, well above the average. Game week rank of in the top 300k, and it's catapulted us well inside the top 100,000. So, top 1% overall achieved, but we have to maintain, and this week is a slightly tricky week. But if we have a look at the side, I think, the defence was pretty good. Clean sheets all round, Dubravka, Simicast, Porro, Gabriel. I think Porro's slightly elevated points was from an assist from memory. No, just 2 bonus points. There you go. And Simicast with 1 bonus point. Dubravka with some save points, I think, got him up to 7. And then a bit of a mixed bag in the front 7. Obviously, our captain and vice captain both blanking, which wasn't ideal. But on the flip side, all 3 of our Chelsea assets got returns, which was pretty awesome. And I guess something we dreamed of, but wasn't expecting. Gordon getting an assist as well was nice. Alvarez blanking as well was a bit disappointing. Um, but that's what it is. On the bench, not much to speak of. Only Kabore played, and Haaland out. Obviously out this week as well with the World Club Championship, or whatever they call it, World Club Cup. Not too sure. So it's an interesting week for transfers because we do have the 2 freebies, so we can do something. But what do you want to do with this squad really? And just looking through the list of players, you can see Alexander Arnold's becoming more prominent, but still expensive. We'll go skip forward to the forwards. Amongst the top, Watkins is a bit too expensive at the moment. Solanke's an interesting one. At the moment, it looks like he has got his goal from the abandoned game against Luton, but not sure, if they're going to replay that or how that all works. But I guess the interesting thing with Solanke is he does play Forest this week. So given we've got 2 forwards out, we could, use one of our free transfers just to straight swap Alvarez for Solanke. I mean, if we look at Alvarez's price, so he's actually priced at 6.9, so we only lose, 0.1 in value if we do that trade. But I guess the midfielder player we do want to target is Bowen. So I haven't been following him too closely, but it looks like he's playing as the sole striker in that West Ham attack. So anytime we can get a midfielder playing as a striker, it's a pretty nice time. But that would involve 2 trades and probably downgrading or upgrading Sterling, which would mean downgrading Alvarez. There is an interesting option with that. This Mateus Cunha, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. But some 5 out of the last 6 returns is pretty nice. Decent fixtures coming up. Nothing clearly obvious. But that would facilitate bringing Bowen in. I guess the other thing to keep in mind too is that in a couple of weeks' time we are going to lose Salah and Son to the Africa Cup and the Asian Cup respectively. Cup of Nations is the African one. Couldn't think of the name there for a second. So that's going to free up a lot of cash, and that's when we're probably going to look at bringing in Trent into the defence, Watkins in the front line. We can probably get Bowen in at that point. So, keeping in mind that we can probably do those moves there, means that I'm probably not going to look at doing the double trade just this week. Um, and saying that, as uncomfortable as it is, Chelsea does have a good run, so we can keep up with the triple Chelsea. So what I'm thinking in terms of trades, because it seems silly to let one just go to waste when it's for free. We'll still have two trades next week if we do use one. Is we'll just do the, I guess, the obvious of Alvarez out and Solanke in, and that could be a 1 week thing, honestly. So gonna make it live on camera. Beautiful. All right, so now if we go to picking the team, which is what Matt gone to, thank you. So yeah, so you can see Haaland on the bench. We want to bring Trippier back in against Luton. So it's a question of who misses out. And honestly, it's a bit of a gamble between Gabriel and Simicast, but I think the fact Liverpool's at home, um, suggests that we'll bench Gabriel this week. So, 3-5-2 rather. So the Bravka against Luton's good. We've got Trippier and Gordon as well. Simicast against Arsenal, that should be a cracking game, but Liverpool being at home just gives them that slight edge. Everton at home is a good fixture for Spurs, so for that reason, we are going to go again with Son as captain. You know, every chance Salah does score against Arsenal, but I think just Everton is a slightly nicer fixture. Wolves away, there's always a chance. Again, it's a bit of a lottery with these guys, but if we've got them all, we're a good chance of getting the points. And Slanky against Forest. So, Forest looks like one of the softest of the soft fixtures at the moment. So, pretty happy to bring him in, even if it is for the 1 week. Um, and saying all this, I know a few people are looking at playing the free hit this week, given that, you might have two or even three Man City assets. If you've got three, you may need to play the free hit. Obviously, if you've got the wild card, I think this is not a bad time to play it. Get in a position where you've got the players around, who you want to bring in for Salah and Son and that sort of deal. Um, but in saying that, I think, obviously, if you are doing the free hit with Haaland out, you bring in Watkins, you bring in Bowen, you could even bring in Trent. Um, so I guess we could quickly do what that looks like. So Haaland out, so Watkins straight in. And then obviously, you've got Solanke to go back to Alvarez next week. Arnold, so I guess, it's a bit of whoever, so maybe I still think it's Sterling goes out for Bowen. I mean, it could even reach for Saka, I suppose, if you wanted to, get out of Gordon. 1.6. So then I guess you can't quite do Trent with that massively stacked midfield. Um, yeah, so I guess just thinking ahead, it's going to be like Saka and Bowen will probably be the ones to come in for Son and Salah. So I think, yeah, even if you do get rid of Haaland in game week 18, and this is playing wildcard, um, I'll bring Gordon back in. Uh, just work out how to do it. There we go. What do we got? 4.7. So we could even be really bold and go Caboro all the way up to Arnold. And if you wanted to upgrade Areola, not quite to Leno, it's a bit flat. So, I mean, we could do something like Gabriel out, Arnold in, bring in Leno and goal. As this sort of wild card setup. So, obviously, game week 18, and then you're like, well, how do I get Haaland back in? I think it's one of those ones where you could wait a week or two, and then obviously Salah to Haaland doesn't cost that much. Um, and then like Son to Saka, or even down to Bowen if you need to make that money to get up to Haaland. And you could do that. Um, so yeah, so I think if you've got a wild card, you could probably play it something like this. If you've got a free hit, obviously you can play it like this, and then your team will go back to what it formerly was. But I think you only play the free hit if you've got three Man City assets. If you've got two, like I had, I was pretty comfortable playing both of them on the bench, just running a squad of essentially 12 because Ariola seems to be on the outer. But I'm just going to reset that because, I'm going with the one trade because it's free. And, as injuries aside, I can always bring Alvarez back in next week. Um, and, start getting ready for Salah and Son out. Yeah, so I think that's all that really needs to be discussed at the moment. So that's how the team's looking. As always, if you've got any thoughts, questions, comments, feel free to get them down below this video. Um, if you enjoy the FPL content, remember to give it a like. Subscribe for all the fantasy content. I have noticed a few subscribers joining since the Big Bash has started, which is pretty cool to see. But other than that, thanks for always watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.